Hello YouTube, welcome to another one of my Duel Links videos, and we have a spicy one today. First off, shout out to my boy Gold Shadow for showing to the stream and saying that he had a deck for me to use with Obedience School. I was like, Obedience School? Alright, I'm all ears. And this is the deck, so it's 100% his credit. The only thing I changed, and that's because I don't have a second Karma Cut, I added a third Raigeki Break. Other than that is card for card his build, and it revolves around the Fabled Unicorn. Now you're probably seeing a lot of Invoked already, and you're thinking, just another Invoke deck. No. This deck's win con is actually the Fabled Unicorn. This card is so cool. It's a level 4 Synchro monster. It requires one Fabled Tuner plus one or more non-tuner monsters. And it reads, while you and your opponent have the same number of cards in hand, negate all spell, trap, and effect monsters activated by your opponent. That's in hand, on field, in graveyard. Doesn't matter where it's being activated, doesn't matter what's being activated, you're negating it with Fabled Unicorn. The thing to understand about this though is that it's a continuous effect, so it happens at the resolution. So if your opponent has, for example, 4 cards in hand and you have 4 cards in hand and they activate a Sage, then on resolution they only have 3 cards in hand, so that effect is still going to resolve. You have to have the same amount of cards at resolution. With that said, you could then chain a card of your own to reduce the number of cards you have in hand to make it even, and then at resolution you negate that effect. So that came up a lot in the duels, that's why I'm trying to explain it. And we have a lot of ways to manipulate what we have in hand. We have our Raigeki Break and Karma Cut to discard a card and reduce the number of cards we have in our hand. We have Double Fusion Reserve, which can add a card from our deck to our hand, so we can increase the amount of cards we have in our hand. And we also have See You Later. Now why is See You Later so clutch? Because when you activate Obedience School, first of all, if you don't know what Obedience School is, you need to get schooled right now. You control no monsters, special summon 3 level 2 or lower beast type effect monsters with different names from your deck. Their effects are negated and they are destroyed during the end phase. If you activate this card, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except beast type monster. So you can't actually go into any of your invoked fusions after you activate Obedience School, but that's fine because you're activating Obedience School to immediately go into the Fabled Unicorn. And depending on what materials you're using, we have 2 Fabled Tuners. If you're using your Cat Sit to synchro, you're gonna need all 3 monsters because you're gonna need 1, 1, and 2. If you are using your Fabled Cerebral, you can go 2 and 2 for the 4. And then the third monster, whatever that is, you can activate See You Later on it, add it back to your hand, and now you have discard fodder for the rest of your back row. Other than that, we have the Invoked Engine so that we can finish our opponent once we've negated their cards. The cool thing is that it doesn't matter what they have on the field, it just matters what's in their hand. So they could have 3 back row and a monster, and you can go Unicorn, attack with your whatever invoked fusion you have, and anything they try to activate, unless it's from the hand, because that might change the number of cards they have, will get negated. So it's really easy to finish them off with a follow-up invoked, but the main thing, like I said, it's going to be going into your Fabled Unicorn. Wonder One is good because you don't lose your normal summon with Obedience, so you can normal this, go into Wonder One, and then hopefully draw into Obedience if you haven't. That also clears your board so you can activate the Obedience School. Other than that, yeah, I mean, pretty much went over everything. I should be running 2 Magellanica. I don't know why I have double Kaliga. I don't have another semi-limited. That's the only weird thing about this extra deck. But for the Purgatrio, the Cositas, and the Magellanica, we run a beast of each attributes. We have a Little Chimera, Tree Otter, and Uniflora Mystical Beast of the Forest. So whatever fusion you need to go into that, if that's what you're going for, you can bring that monster from the deck using the Obedience School. The other 2 Obedience School are not going to be dead because, again, we have Raigeki Break and Karma Cut for the discard with discard effects, so that just becomes fodder for that. But yeah, let's go ahead and show you these games, and it was really fun to use. It took a few duels of practice, like 2 or 3 duels, to get the hang of the Unicorn. Even though, because I wasn't, I knew what the effect was, but I wasn't really applying it correctly at the beginning. Like I said, my opponent was getting around what cards they had in hand by me not by activating effects from the hand. So after using a little bit, then I realized how it's supposed to work. So we're gonna activate See You Later, bring that cat seat to the hand. The cool thing about cat seat 2 is that if you use it for Raigeki Break or Karma Cut, you can then destroy a face-up card because it's being discarded. And I'm just gonna keep everything in hand. There's no point in setting anything, and he has 4 cards in hand. So whatever he activates, if he activates something without setting, it's gonna get negated. So he's just gonna set a monster. We're gonna go for Invoker. We only run 1 invocation, so I couldn't search anything. Go ahead and summon Cositus. Invocation, add that Alistair back to the hand. And we're gonna attack because I want to make sure I can. This didn't have an effect, so I wanted to negate that. Gateway of Chaos, we both have 4 cards, so it gets negated. Goes for Master of Rites. Blackluster Soldier. Now, this is the cool thing about the invoked engine. Super Soldier Synthesis should resolve because he has 3 and I have 4, but I can chain my Alistair to make the cards in our hands an equal amount. Synthesis gets negated. Now we're gonna set a back row. If that had an effect, we have the same amount of cards, so we win. Super cool. Negated so many effects against players that not necessarily they weren't trying to play around it. Some of them made mistakes and actually played into Unicorn, but it's just so good, man. This deck was super fun to use. I believe he was trying to get King of Games with this. I don't know if he ever reached it, but he was in High Legend when I last talked to him using this deck. Alright, so we're going first. We got Obedience School. Gonna go ahead and summon 3. See You Later, so we can add back the cat sit and go straight into our Fable Unicorn. I'm gonna go ahead and set the Karma Cut. Now he sets 3 back row and goes for Cyber Dragon Core. Core is gonna add a Cybernetic Overflow. So as long as we keep the same amount of cards in our hand, we can negate. That's why immediately I went for the double set. Obviously Wonder One does nothing set. This is just to manipulate the number of cards I have in my hand. Now we have 2 and 2. Cybernetic Overflow gets negated. He tries to add, gets negated again, and we destroy his Cyber Dragon Core. So he's gonna summon Proto Cyber. I'm immediately gonna activate this so we can not only are we going to be able to destroy a card in the back row, if he tries to respond with it, we'll both have 1 card in hand and it's gonna get negated. So destroy that cat seat is going to destroy the Proto Cyber. Once again, Cybernetic Overflow gets negated because we have 1 card in hand. Draw, normal summon Alistair. I'm going to immediately set that invocation. Drowning Mirror Force, negate it. I could have gone for the invoked, but I knew I was going to be able to negate whatever was on the field. So we just went ahead and finished him off because we don't need the invoked. So Fable Unicorn deck. Alright, back-to-back Ishizus. Double set. We obviously don't have the greatest of hand here, so we're trying to get to our Obedience School. I'm taking all this damage. As long as he's not threatening lethal, I don't care taking damage. We're gonna add Alistair, so we should be able to draw into our Obedience School. I mean, we're gonna, add Invocation plus draw 2 with Wonder One, and we don't get Obedience. Just kidding. Karma Cut, discard my Raigeki Break, activate Fusion Reserve, thin the deck even more. We have a Wonder One, so now we really should. There's the Obedience School. So you have 4 cards in hand. He goes ACL recombination, that's fine. I could have said something, but it wasn't like Obedience School was gonna make my Unicorn hit the field, right? So now that I'm actually gonna go for the Synchro, I'm gonna set a card so we both have 3 in case there's a floodgate. I would have been able to negate it right there. Now the important thing to know is they can't respond to your skill, but they can respond to you setting a card. So what I'm doing here is, say one of those is Cyclone. I'm activating See You Later first because he can respond to See You Later. And then I'm going to set my Invocation. If he tries to respond to Invocation, at that point we'll both have 3 cards in hand and it's going to get negated. So we set the Invocation, hit him for 23. And unfortunately now he has more cards than I do, but like I said, he plays straight into my effects because he's not thinking that it's a resolution, not at activation. So Alien Ammonite, 4 cards should go through, but he chains Alien Dog. So when Alien Dog hits the field, he now has 3, so do I. So his Ammonite is gonna get negated. He tries to activate Alien Dog, it's also gonna get negated. In the draw phase, we're immediately gonna use Raigeki Break so that we once again even the amount of cards we have in our hand, and that card is now negated, so we just swing for a game. So fun, man. Yeah, so very, very fun. All right, 1, 2, 3. Then we have a Merrick. And I don't know if this was Shadow Game. I think this was a hero deck. And it was pretty tough. Oh yeah, they were playing Shadow Game. Was this Shadow Game Heroes? Honestly can't remember. Alright, no, this was not. So we're gonna set 3 in the back row. Immediately activate Fusion Reserve twice. So we're gonna add double Invoked. And then he just sets. I mean, he doesn't do anything. So now we can activate Alistair. Search Invocation. Go for Wonder One. Draw 2. Where's our Obedience School? There it is. We're gonna use Raigeki Break to pop the back row. And now unsummon, my guy's gonna be safe, even though it doesn't matter. But this is what I mean, see? He activates Sphere Kribo. He had 3 cards, but on resolution, he only has 2. So my Fable Unicorn does not go through. I didn't even add my Uniflora because I was trying to, negate whatever this face down was, but it didn't let me destroy it, so that's fine. Uniflora goes to the graveyard. We lose 1,000 life. He sets another monster, and time to beat him up. Activate Invocation with Little Chimera. Go for Purgatrio. We're gonna set a card, and this is the cool thing. If he has a Kribo here, we can double Alistair, so it would both be down to 1 card. That puts me at 47, and everything is negated. So it's really nothing he can do. I'm gonna activate my Alistair immediately. Then he realizes that either he didn't have anything in hand, but say he had a Kribo, we could have chained the second Alistair, and that Kribo would have been negated. And then we had 47 over 2 face down defense position monsters. Pretty sure that was gonna be lethal. And this might be the hero one. I believe this is the one duel where I don't actually go yeah, I'm not able to. Oh no, I do go Obedience School, but he said everything, so I'm gonna have monsters left over in my hand, unfortunately. But my plan was to maybe see if he would search something. He's just keeping no cards in hand, which is very unfortunate. Goes for the Mass Change. Anki destroyed to add another Mass Change. But luckily for us, his Decider can't get over my Invoker. And he doesn't want to use the Mass Change because he would rather keep Decider that cannot be attacked, Alright, so now it's time to fall back on the Invoked engine. Go for Purgatrio. Invocation, add my Alistair back. And this is the cool thing about See You Later. We can search first and then just add it right back to our hand so we can boost. But the boost was going to be activated if he activated this, which based on the delay was probably a Forbidden Chalice. Alright. And here we pretty much win. He's gonna set a backer. We're gonna Raigeki break that using the cat seed. Cat seed's gonna destroy the cider, but he's gonna scoop it up. So we knew the other card based on the toggle while I was dueling. I was pretty sure that it was a forbidden chalice, so nothing he could do there. So yeah, I was super happy, man. Obedience School is one of those cards that it's such massive advantage. You know, you get 3 monsters from the deck, but we just don't have anything that can really take advantage of the card in its full potential. We have very limited fusion or synchro beast type monsters, but I was really happy to be able to use it, you know, in a deck like this. So shout outs to Gold Shadow one more time. But everyone else, thank you so much for watching. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you want. And until next time.